Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for a live product tour of the NovoEd Collaborative Online Learning Platform. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy days to be here with us. So thank you so much for being here. We're really excited to have you. Before we really dive into kind of the meat of this webinar, I just want to take a moment to kind of give you a brief overview of GoToWebinar in case you're unfamiliar with the platform rather. However, I'm sure with all of our video conferencing calls, you might be familiar with this platform. Please note that you are all on mute. You can use your control panel, as you can see in the image here on the right-hand side of the slide, to really submit any questions at any time during the product tour. We are going to be responding to questions as they come in, and there's also dedicated time at the end of the webinar for Q&A, and we'll address the questions there as well. So please, we would love to make this as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions at any moment, please go ahead and use that chat box to let us know. We'd love to hear from you all. At the end of this webinar, I do want to mention that we are going to have a survey pop up. If you could just take a few moments to fill out that survey to provide us with some feedback on this webinar, that'd be very helpful so that we can continue to improve our webinar program. We want to make sure that this is really what you're expecting to see and make sure that this program is as best as can be. Lastly, I do want to mention that we are recording this webinar, so you will receive the recording via email tomorrow morning in case you would like to rewatch it or share it with anyone else. So just please keep an eye out for that email from us tomorrow morning. Next, I would like to kind of introduce both myself and my colleague who's on this webinar today. So my name is Jessica, and I'm the marketing manager here at NovoEd, and I'm going to be kind of guiding you through the slides and giving you some context about NovoEd before handing it over to Amanda, who is our solutions consultant, who's going to walk you through the demo. Amanda brings 15 years of experience in learning and education to NovoEd as an e-learning product designer, instructional designer, library director, and a music teacher. She's very passionate about learning science and user experience and holds a master's of library and information science and a bachelor's of science in music education from the University of South Carolina.
Hi, everyone.
For today's agenda, we're going to begin with an overview of NovoEd and our platform features before we really dive into a demo of our collaborative learning platform. At the end, we are going to pause for Q&A to address any questions that have come up. So again, please just send any questions our way. For anyone who might be unfamiliar with NovoEd, we are a collaborative learning platform that empowers organizations to really design and deliver experiential learning that accelerates business performance on a global scale. Since our company's founding at Stanford's Social Algorithm Lab in 2012, global corporations, executive education providers, as well as training firms have really relied on us to develop their high-value capabilities through purposeful practice and application, coaching and mentorship, as well as group collaboration. Our proven approach really connects diverse groups of learners, mentors, and leaders in a high-impact online environment, which helps unlock the organization's collective knowledge and drives measurable outcomes. In 2018, we were acquired by Fidelity as part of their EdTech strategy. Some of the customers that we work here, as you can see on this slide, include Kraft Heinz, IDEO, Chevron, GE, and Stanford. Before we dive any deeper into this webinar, I just would love to hear from you all. So I'm going to launch a quick poll. And you should see something pop up on your screen asking you what types of strategic training initiatives your organization is planning to move or expand online. You can select more than one option here, and your options are leadership training, sales enablement, onboarding, innovation or change training, or other. So please take a couple of seconds to let us know what your initiatives currently are, and that'll help us kind of cater this webinar to our audience. If you happen to mark other, please use the chat box to let us know what we might have missed here. So let's keep it open. Looks like about 75% of you have voted. So I'll keep it open for about 5-10 more seconds. If you have not answered, please go ahead and do so. Great. Thank you, everyone, for your response. Let me go ahead and share the results. Okay, this is good. So when we have done this poll in the past, leadership training really seems to be the number one. That's not very surprising to me, and I think that's probably not so surprising to you as well, as we need to move this training online or at least expand it to kind of help with business continuity. Something that does surprise me, typically we do see sales enablement and onboarding as kind of the second or the third top response here, but innovation and change training. This is something that we are hearing from some customers that we've been speaking with, but it is very interesting here that it's almost tied neck and neck with leadership training. That's not something I've seen from this poll so far. So thank you so much for sharing your answers with us, and we'll try to really make this webinar tied around the responses that you've given to us. So our platform is really optimized for collaborative learning. With a single place to learn and connect, our consolidated platform accommodates both live virtual events as well as guided self-directed resources and learning. The NovoEd platform is meant to replicate the core value of in-person learning and provides engagement and impact of in-person programs in an online modality through peer interaction, project work, and mentor connection. Some of the items that Amanda will actually be showing later in this demo. This modern learning experience is really meant to be highly engaging and drives frequent and deep connections with colleagues and among teams. Throughout the learning journey, learners are tasked with practicing and applying new skills with feedback from peers and mentors to reinforce key themes and objectives. Lastly, through the use of user profiles, messaging, and group interaction, this helps foster accountability, sparks really long-lasting relationships, and drives deeper connections. Through collaborative capabilities, as well as practice and application, we help you deliver powerful, engaging learning experiences that address your most prevalent organizational challenges and facilitate positive behavior change. On this slide here, you can see some of our use cases for our platform, which include digital transformation, leadership development, functional upskilling, diversity and inclusion, as well as employee onboarding. While it's not listed here on this slide, we do partner with organizations for sales enablement and innovation and design thinking as well. So there are a lot of learning technology solutions out there, and I just wanted to kind of give you a sense of where we fit into the learning ecosystem. This slide that you see here might be somewhat familiar to you. It's basically a version of Josh Berson's technology stack. So NovoEd is focused squarely on delivering high-impact learning experiences that really bring people together to collaborate on learning. We can integrate into other parts of your ecosystem, as NovoEd experiences can be accessed through your LMS or your LXP, and you can bring existing content and various learning objects that you've built internally or have access through content subscription. So we do interact with other technologies in this stack. With all of that said, I'm just going to turn it around to my colleague Amanda, who's actually going to walk you through our platform. She's going to go ahead and share her screen and give you some insights on what our platform looks like.
Thank you, Jessica, and welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to show the NovoEd platform to you today. So I'm going to start by showing you the learner side of the platform and what it's like to go through a learning journey that incorporates lots of content from many different places, like Jessica was saying, but in a very streamlined way so that it's easy to use and has been really it's been really designed for the adult learner and optimized for the adult learner. Apologies at my voice there. We'll also take a look at what it's like to interact with your peers in this learning environment through discussions, peer feedback, working on teams or participating in a group, and doing all of that with having the support of a mentor who can guide you along. We'll also take a look at the mentor side of the platform, and they have a very nice dashboard there which streamlines their involvement in a course so that they can be a support to learners without a huge time commitment. And we'll end by taking a look at some of our admin functionality as well. So you'll get to see all three perspectives today. Coming back to the learner side, again, this platform has been very optimized for the adult learner. We know that adults learners are unique in that they have to juggle so much going on with their work lives, and now our personal lives being all intertwined with that. It can be a real challenge to set aside time and focus on the learning that you need to be doing to continue to grow. So you're going to see a lot of things in the platform here that aid in the convenience for the learner, make it a simple interface, but also things that motivate the learner to come back and participate in a learning journey, even when so much else is going on in our lives. So what are some of those things that motivate adult learners? Some things could be maybe more extrinsic, like receiving very timely reminders that you have things coming up, or that you didn't complete an assignment, or that someone is waiting on your feedback. All of that will live here under your learner's profile in the top left. Things like notifications where someone has sent you a direct message about your activity. Maybe someone gave you feedback on your discussion post, or gave you feedback on your assignment, or posted in your team space. Some of these things make people very curious. They want to know, what are other people saying about my work? And they're more motivated to log back in, to come into the experience. Also with messages, these messages can be set up in the admin to help scale your facilitation. They can be based on triggers or different behaviors from your learners, and automatically go out so that learners receive a very tailored, customized message based on their behavior. Say that they didn't complete an assignment that was due, or they haven't logged in so many days. That can be set up in advance by your admins so that someone doesn't have to manually do all of that work, but learners still feel like they're getting a personalized attention in the course. Another note about these notifications and messages is that they do live here in the platform, but they will also go to your learner's email address. So even if they're not logging in every day, you still have ways to reach them. The platform itself is 100% mobile responsive, so it will shrink down to a smaller screen if your adult learners are primarily using tablets or mobile phones. We also have native apps for both iOS and Android, so that learners who are in the field mostly, or more likely to use their phone, can still participate and do everything you can do in the web version, you can do on that mobile app. You'll also get some added benefits of being able to download content and access it offline, and you'll also be able to receive those push notifications that you see up here. Those will come to the mobile app as well. Now, another extrinsic motivator you might see is with many learners is this progress area, and knowing that a learner, knowing that they have to earn so many points, or maybe complete so many to-do items, that can help learners sort of keep pace in their course. They get a little bit of reward for meeting those tasks, and it motivates them because they know exactly what they have to do, and it's very transparent for them. And we'll track all of that here for them so they know at any time what they need to be doing. We also have a leaderboard functionality, if you want to enable it, that allows your learners who are maybe a little bit more competitive to see where they rank, and if it's too close to call, it'll also say that as well. But I think where NovoEd is really unique in compared to a lot of other learning platforms is our ability to draw on more intrinsic motivators. Things like making a learner feel that they are accomplishing something, and we can do that through not just quizzing learners and saying, oh great, you passed a quiz, but we give them an opportunity to practice and apply what they've learned. And you'll see that here through either our individual challenges or through a team challenge, where learners are taking what they've learned and putting it into a real world context. Learners are also often motivated by feeling accountable to other people. And we do that through the social interactions, making people feel like they're part of a community as they're going through this learning experience, and working with their peers, and also getting that support from a mentor, which you see here in the bottom center. So in this case, Leah, our learner, has been assigned to Mark, who's going to be giving her feedback on her assignments. He's going to be monitoring her progress from his dashboard, and he's just a click away if she has questions and wants to send him a message. But knowing that someone who is more expert than you is available and they care about your learning and your progress is a huge motivator for many learners. I will say here on a side note that this term mentor is fully customizable. Call it whatever you want it to be, and that you can also include multiple mentors in a learning journey. Many of our clients, especially those in our onboarding use cases, will have maybe a manager and then someone from the HR, like an onboarding manager, or maybe even a buddy from your own department. You can stack multiple mentors on top of a learner to give them all the support that they might need going through a learning journey. So let's talk about some of the content that you might see in a learning experience. This particular course is set up in a couple of different modules, and the platform is really flexible. So you could make this as, design it to maybe be a little bit more on the self-paced side where learners go through at their own speed, or set it up as a cohort where learners are going through as a group and maybe new content is being released every week or every 2 weeks. You can also do a blended approach where we have maybe some asynchronous content that learners are going to go through on their own, and that might lead up to a live event where we bring everyone together on Zoom or a comparable virtual meeting technology. So let's dive in a moment and look at how this content looks on the page. What I want you to really first notice from this page of content is the streamlined nature of it. We might have learners starting off with a video or a reading to expose them to some ideas, and then we want them to pause and reflect and have a discussion with their peers about how to apply what they've learned and hear it in their own words. And maybe that flows into some more content that we have, maybe a document that we've created and uploaded, or a SCORM package that we've uploaded to this lesson, and maybe we end with a knowledge check. The idea here is to keep it streamlined so that learners don't have to go to multiple places to find different things. It can be to them a very streamlined experience. They don't need to know that maybe this content is coming from lots of different places. This video could have been uploaded to the platform, or it could have been embedded from the web. I mentioned that we support SCORM as well. If you have e-learning objects that you want to make a part of this learning experience, they can absolutely come here. But to the learner, it's just one streamlined experience, and they don't have to navigate to other parts of the platform to find anything that they need. With discussions, coming back up for a moment, there's a bit of nuance here that I wanted to call out, not just that we keep those discussions in line with the content, but also the ability to reply to and like each other's posts. And this creates conversations and notifications activity that draw learners back to this discussion. So if I go in and post as Leah on Janice's comment, then she's going to get a notification that I commented on her post. I also tagged my colleague Ben because I want him to check out what she said, because it really resonates with something we were just talking about the other day. And all of that will make people curious and make them want to log back in and see what's happening. And it also allows us to have conversations that are stretched across time. Maybe Janice posted this comment on Monday and I'm coming in on Thursday to say something, but because we all receive notifications about it, we're able to have a conversation across time zones, across different ends of the week, and it really brings people together in a way that's convenient for them so that we're not all logged in at the same time. Now, with quizzes, coming down here to the bottom, NovoEd does have built-in quizzing and survey functionality. The experience of building these quizzes or surveys or any element in the NovoEd platform is extremely easy. It's a drag and drop experience, and you don't need to know how to code to do it. You'll just fill out a template and the system will generate that object for you. And I'll try to show you a little bit of that at the end as well, just to see how simple it is. But you can very quickly, once you've uploaded your content, no matter where it's coming from, you can quickly craft the social and the practice and application parts of the course and really get up and running. Often we see in a matter of weeks with a course versus other learning platforms that might take you several months to pull all your content together and craft that experience. Now, maybe all of this pre-work we've seen on this page is leading up to that live event that I mentioned. So I'd like to show you what that looks like from the learner's perspective. And what you'll do here is create a live a meeting, whether that's in Microsoft Teams or GoToMeeting or Zoom, and it will be added to this page as a component. What this gives your learners the ability to do is launch that meeting from this page, but it also gives them a one-stop shop to come for any materials that you want them to have related to that meeting. It also gives them a place to see where you've posted the recording if they want to rewatch it, or for people who weren't able to attend can still watch this recording and feel like they were a part of that event. And tack on a discussion post that allows you to have learners ask questions if they think of something later, or if they weren't able to attend, they can still feel like they were a part of the experience. So again, a very streamlined experience for the learner. We want to keep it simple for them. And I will say we do have a deeper integration with Zoom specifically that has a couple extra bells and whistles. It'll post the recording for you automatically. It will also track attendance in our analytics and do a few other things, but this will work with whatever technology you are using today. Now, we've seen how content looks in the platform. We've seen how a live meeting looks, but I'd like to take a look now at what it's like to have the opportunity to practice and apply what you've learned. So here we're doing that through a challenge, or you could think of this as an activity or assignment. In this case, we're going to ask Leah to do a role play and record a 30-second video of herself and upload it to the platform, pretending that she's kicking off her first meeting. But this could be a lot of different things. It could be, I want you to do an analysis and upload a spreadsheet, or do a pen and paper exercise and take a picture of it. Create a slide deck, upload a video. Whatever object you want your learners to create that demonstrates that they can apply what they've learned, this assignment can handle it. And if I scroll down here, Leah is going to answer a couple of questions and then upload her video. Now, this is a seamless experience in the mobile app. You can record using your phone's webcam, and in the very near future, we'll have the ability to record from the web browser here so that learners don't have to use a separate application. So I'd actually like to switch gears now and show you what that looks like from the mobile app. So you should be seeing my phone now, and what I'm going to do is open the app, and it should log me into the course. I apologize, I'm having a little internet slowness. So I'm going to give that a moment to work its magic. We'll come back to it if we once it's fully loaded. All right, so let's just say after Leah has submitted her assignment, we have a couple of ways of giving her feedback on that assignment. We can utilize our mentors to give approval or give feedback, in which case Leah's assignment will appear in Mark's dashboard, and he'll know that she's ready for him to give her feedback, and then he can, when he's done giving her feedback, she'll receive a notification that it's ready for her to take a look at. We can also do peer feedback. If I scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a gallery of 3 of my peers. So you can configure this to ask learners to evaluate however many you want. An algorithm on the back end is matching people so that everyone gets feedback. And giving feedback is quite simple. I'm going to click on Rebecca's submission, and you can see I see the answer she added to her assignment. I can watch her video, or I could look at the object that she uploaded, whatever it might be. And then I can give her feedback below. But notice here that this is not, I'm not just giving her feedback into a vacuum. I'm also able to see what other people are saying, including Mark, our mentor, who's chimed in with some public feedback. So this is very much like if we were in a live training in person, 2 people do a role play at the front of the room and the rest of the room has a group discussion about it. I benefit from, as a learner, I benefit from seeing what my peer did, but I also benefit from hearing how other people interpret her work. So it's a multi-layered experience and benefit for the learner. And the beauty of doing this in an online platform is that it is persistent. So at any time, a learner can go to our submission gallery and browse what their peers have done. Whereas in a live session, after it's over, that moment is somewhat fleeting and you might take a few notes, but you can't really go back and watch it again. Now, this gallery will display any assignments that have been made public and shared with the course. You can, of course, have private assignments that are just between the learner and the mentor, or the learner and the teaching team. But learners do get a lot of benefit of being able to come back and see what they've personally done, or come back and learn from their peers if they are encountering the same challenge maybe a little bit later on. Now, we can do this for the individual learner, but we can also do this for teams. So if I go to the next page, you'll see that Leah has been added to a 5-person team where they are going to have a challenge of creating a team charter, which they'll upload as a PowerPoint or a PDF. But to make this work in an online environment where maybe everyone's not logging in at the exact same time, we give them a team workspace. And in this workspace, you can see they're over here having discussions, sharing resources. They've even scheduled a time to come together to work synchronously, but that's really not required. Learners can do this work asynchronously, and that opens up opportunities for you to put people into small groups and teams that maybe would not ever work together. If your company has a global footprint, we've often seen our clients have people from different parts of the world work together and get exposed to new ideas and new ways of thinking, which is an opportunity they don't often get. On the right-hand side, you'll notice that this is a private space so that other learners can't see into this space. But as the teaching team or a mentor, you'll have a dashboard where you can have a bird's eye view of how all of your teams are performing and moving along in their progress. And also you'll be able to enter these spaces and post comments or encourage the team to make more progress if they've fallen behind, or help answer any questions for them. Right below that, you'll see that we are tracking the learner's activity in the team space, which you'll be able to see in the analytics as well. So you'll know who in the team was very active and pulling their weight, and if other people weren't contributing much at all. So that is essentially the learner's experience in the course. I hope by piecing all of those things together, it helps give you a sense of how you can really have an impactful, high-touch learning experience. But what's maybe not as obvious is how that can be done really at scale. To give this kind of experience to a learner, and a lot of other platforms would require immense work from a facilitator of tracking their progress and sending them interventions to encourage them and giving them feedback. But when you utilize component discussions or peer evaluation exercises or teams and groups, it really distributes a lot of the work that a facilitator might have had to do, and put some of that on the learners themselves or on mentors, so that you have this rich experience without a lot of work on part of the instructor, who can then sit back and look at things from a broader perspective and intervene where they need to. So what I'd like to do now is shift gears and look at the mentor side of the platform. Again, the whole idea here is that let's make this as easy as possible so that our mentors don't have to have a huge time commitment, but can still be very impactful. So I'm logged in now as Mark, you'll see, and I have access to the course just like a learner would, but I have this See My Mentees button at the bottom, which will take me to my mentor dashboard. And here I will be able to see at a glance how all of my learners are progressing in the course in terms of the points they've earned or the to-do items they've completed. And if I see a red flag here that maybe Sandy hasn't made a lot of progress in the course, it's very quick and easy to just send her a message and check in on her and to see how I can help her get back on track. Anything that needs my attention will be waiting here under needs approval or needs comments in a queue. And this makes the process really simple to quickly open these assignments. You can, again, read what they've written or look at the object they've created, and then you'll give them feedback below. And in this case, I might say, nice job, Sandy. I like how you did X, Y, and Z, and approve it, and she'll earn points for this assignment. Or I might give her some constructive feedback and ask her to make some changes and send it back for revision, in which case she will get a notification on her end that this needs her attention, it needs to be redone. So as a mentor, I can do this when it's convenient for me. I don't have to schedule time with Sandy to do it. It's much more easy to work into my my daily or weekly schedule. Now, this is going to be private feedback, but I can make it public by checking a box if I want to really encourage Sandy and maybe hold her up as an example to everyone else. So this is a very, the comment box and feedback is a very informal way of doing giving feedback and doing evaluations, but we can also support more formal methods. So I'm going to show you now with Jerry here an example of a rubric that's been attached with an assignment. So I'm going to evaluate him, and you'll notice his assignment on the left, and now my rubric is on the right. This is fully customizable, so you control exactly what is your rubric criteria, how much detail you want to add there, what is the rating scale you want people to use, and then your evaluators will be able to give a score, but they can still give some qualitative feedback in this grid where you're asking some questions about, answering some questions about what worked, what didn't, what could be improved. So it puts some parameters around how to give feedback versus just an open comment box. Now, mentors can use this, your teaching team can use this. You can also have learners evaluating each other against a rubric, which is sometimes really popular because it gives your learners an opportunity to internalize what success looks like for a given activity, which is just going to further improve their own work as they tackle that activity themselves. But that is essentially it for the mentor side. They do have some basic stats of who's logged in, who hasn't, so that they can do interventions as needed. But the real deep analytics comes when you get to the admin functionality. So I'll switch gears now and show you the platform from Denise's perspective. So you'll see Denise is logged in to the course, and she has these additional options as an admin, and she can really do anything from managing users and groups, configuring the course, building content, accessing analytics, and all of the course communications. I will say that all of this power is based on several different permission sets, which you can mix and match to give different admins different levels of access to the platform. If you have a larger team that's going to be running these courses and need access to the back end. Today, I'd like to take a look at the analytics though. And what we're providing in an online platform, we're able to track really almost anything you could imagine. And we offer it here in the analytics at two different levels. There's this macro level where you see how are learners overall engaging with the course, and then it breaks out into the different components. So how do they interact with assignments? How do they interact with discussions? And you'll start to notice some trends. Like for here example, I see that something we did in week 3 and in week 7 was really effective. In other weeks, maybe not so much. I'd love to go back and analyze what we did so that we could recreate that for future weeks and really improve our program. You can also drill down into any of these objects. So if I choose a specific video, here you'll see that I get a histogram of what percentage of video the learners have watched. And this will apply for any video that you have uploaded to the platform. You can embed video, but uploading does give you this additional benefit, in addition to a couple other things as well, like being able to insert quizzes inside of a video or surveys inside of a video to make them more interactive. But you get those really great analytics. And I see here now that 90 to 100% of most of my learners are watching 90 to 100% of this video, which is really good. But if there was a spike in the lower percentages, I would know that something is wrong with this video. Maybe it's just too long and my learners can't keep their attention spans on it. So I might want to make changes for the future. And that's really the beauty of this, is that this is real-time data. So if you're doing something in the earlier weeks of your cohort and it doesn't go quite the way you expected, you can make changes for later weeks or make changes for the next run of the course that you might want to do. So this is the macro level, but I mentioned there is another level of detail, which we'll get at our custom report builder. So here you're going to create a report that comes to you as a CSV file. It can be ported into a business intelligence tool or combined with other data so you can get some additional insights, but this is really your data to take with you. Building these reports is incredibly easy. We don't limit you to just reporting on your learners. You could also choose to report on your mentors or maybe on the teams themselves if you want to see what kind of activity they generated. You can filter by any profile questions you've asked your learners as they're creating those profiles. You can add custom questions, which will now allow you to use those answers to segment your data, compare different types of users to each other. And then the next step is just to define what you want to see in the report. Maybe that profile information is important here. So you might want to know what's their location, their job title, how many years of experience do they have, or maybe other demographic information. Progress is not just completion. It can be how many, what percentage of pages did they look at? How many points have they earned, etc. So a lot more detail there than you would typically get. And you can also see how active they were in social components in the course, like the discussions or participating on a team. Then with the activities that the learners completed, you get a lot of detail here. Let's choose a specific assignment and see what's available to us. So you'll notice that once I select an assignment, I have a lot of information, like how many comments did they receive? When was their, when did they submit it? Did they need an extension, etc. Just a lot of detail. And you get similar levels of detail for everything else, including the peer feedback, the quizzes, discussion posts. You can run a report to see what did they say in the discussions, or run a report on what feedback did they give to their peers. What percentage of video did they watch in the course? And you can see all the other components there as well. The last step is just to save this to this dashboard where you can run this report again at any time with refreshed data. And it really makes it a simple process to get that detailed insight that can not just help you improve the experience for your learners in the course, but also to see, how are people exactly engaging with my course. Now, I will pause here for a moment and just mention that, many of our clients are integrating NovoEd with a learning management system or with an LXP in order to launch those learners into the NovoEd experience. It takes care of the enrollment piece at the beginning, but we also send completion data back to that LMS or to that LXP. This detail that you see here is a little bit outside of that, but we do have APIs that can port this information into other systems, maybe a learning record store, for example, where you can house that really granular data. So we have just a minute left. I want to show you very quickly a little bit of the content editing and still make sure we have time for questions. So I mentioned before that editing content is extremely simple in NovoEd. I'd like to show you just how simple by clicking on a page, and I'm going to use this icon in the top right to edit some content. And now that I've done that, I have the ability to add new components to this lesson page. You'll see a menu appear where you have the ability to add text boxes or images or templates. You can upload video or any files like PowerPoints or slide decks. If I scroll down here, this is where you get into adding content through embedding it or through SCORM or LTI. And then in the center, you have the activities that you want the learners to do, whether those be practice through a challenge or taking a quiz or a survey. We even have a timed exam if you want to put real pressure on your learners. And then the social activities like discussions and doing peer feedback. And these are all very simple to use. As I mentioned before, I'll just do a quick template, which is, headers and other ways of adding visual interest. I get a template to fill out, and I'll just upload a background image to that very quickly. And already it looks nice and attractive, but I can play with the style even a bit more using this template here, where I can change the text and positioning. I can even change the colors, which use hex codes, or there'll be a color palette waiting for you here. And all of the content is really that simple and easy. So you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know XML or HTML5 to make really attractive and engaging courses. So I'm going to pause there and would love to hear some of your questions if there's something I didn't cover or something you're curious about.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Amanda, for really walking us through the NovoEd platform. And thank you to everyone who has, asked questions along the way. If there's any questions that are lingering, please let us know. We're going to kind of go through some quick Q&A before we wrap up. So please send us any of your questions if you have them. Amanda, the first question for you is, how many languages is this platform available in?
Fantastic questions. I'll actually show you here in the platform. If I go to my profile, I'm able to switch my language. And I think we have, close to a dozen at this point. And we're always adding more if you don't see what you're looking for here. But we have English, 2 versions of Spanish, French, 2 versions of Portuguese, simplified Mandarin, Korean, Japanese, Russian, German, and Arabic. We recently added support for right to left languages, which is we're very happy about. And what this will do is change the navigation of the platform. So as your learners are moving around in the platform, it takes care of this part for them. It does not automatically translate your content, but it does take care of everything that's platform related.
Great. Thank you so much. And this other question is coming from someone who is looking to set up a new leadership course online, and they're just curious, if they have the content ready, like how much effort does it really take to kind of set up and run a course?
Yeah, it's really pretty easy to get your content in, get set up, and be launched. We've seen clients do this in, a matter of weeks versus months. The course configuration on the back end is simple. We are a SaaS platform, so there's no heavy installation that needs to be done. We just create your instance, set up your course shell, get you trained quickly, and then you're off, to adding your content like you saw before. I will say, if you need additional help, we beyond your customer success manager who's going to be with you through every step of this, we do also have a professional services team that's available to do anything for you, from building everything for you and launching the course, all the way to maybe you want to build it yourself, but you want someone just to look over your shoulder and give you advice or some feedback on what you've done. There's a huge spectrum of options there, and they're available to assist with that at whatever level you would choose to engage them.
Wonderful, thank you. And the next question I'm seeing here is about live events. Are you able to host live events like webinars or video conferencing on this platform?
Yes, you can add live events as a component of the course. And you'll utilize whatever virtual meeting or webinar technology you are using today. You'll simply create that event and then add it to a page within NovoEd, where your learners will be able to access that live event from within the course. And then it also gives you a place to post the recording or any other materials that learners will need for that event.
Great, thank you, Amanda. And then the last question that I'm currently seeing right now, earlier in this demo, you kind of showed the, various feedback that was received throughout the course. Is all this feedback public to everyone else in this cohort?
You have the option when you are configuring an assignment and you're using that peer feedback to make that feedback public and shared with the course, or you can make it private just between the learner and the mentor, or the learner and the teaching team. It really depends on how you want that to be structured, but you've got about 5 different options of privacy to work with when it comes to setting up an assignment.
Great. Thank you so much, Amanda. I'm not seeing any more questions at the moment, so let's go ahead and wrap up. Really, thank you everyone for your great questions. If you are interested in maybe a personalized demo, or you would like to learn more, please use the chat box and just type in yes, and we'll go ahead and follow up with you offline after this webinar. Really, thank you so much for being here. I do want to mention that we have an upcoming free course available to you if you are interested. It's our Foundations of Learning Experience Design course, which is a 5-week course, and it begins October 12th. It's completely free to sign up and be a part of this course. And really within this course, you'll learn how to leverage LXD, or learning experience design, to really create relevant and high quality online learning. You'll be in a large group of peers where you can interact with them, and you'll really get to kind of learn a lot about learning experience design and just connect with peers from around the world. So if that's something you're interested in, you can use your phone camera to scan this QR code, which will then take you to the landing page where you can register. It's completely free. So if you are interested, feel free to sign up. It does begin October 12th. And last thing I want to mention before we sign off and say our goodbyes is please fill out the feedback survey at the end of this webinar. It will provide both of us with feedback so that we can continue to improve our webinar program. Again, thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.